Hi, it's Lisa. I have a project for us today to make a travel journal mini book. I find that when I travel, if I have something to write down notes as I go on my trips, I'm much more likely to have good journaling on my scrapbook pages when I get back. This time I'm using 6x6 pads, and I'm going to put some rings at the top of the page, and we're going to take our 6x6s and actually adhere them together so they in some cases can form pockets, and it will be a little more stable album. These are the kind of 6x6s that have a strip that's attached at the top. It can be ones that tear off, but you don't want them to tear off real easily. These are from Pebbles and the Lakeside Collection and the Pier from Crepe Paper. They are not printed though on the back sides, so I can, at least not the Pebbles ones anyway, so I can at least use, I don't think either one of them are, so I can at least use all the pretty printed sides by gluing two of these together. And I'm just organizing the papers. I went through the two pads and picked out papers where I had full sheets. I've got a few scrap sheets laid aside too to cut little bits out, and deciding which pieces I want to accompany each other and lay facing each other in my little mini album. I also have some index cards, and I'm going to use the index cards, some of them glued on top and a couple of them in some pockets. So let's go ahead and glue a couple of these together, and I'm just using tape runner adhesive to adhere these. And make sure it goes all the way around all four sides on the ones that won't have a pocket, and some of it didn't come out just perfect, so I may have to do a little trimming, but that's okay. This is not a project where I'm going for perfection. This is a project where I'm going for getting the information on the page, and I'm making it attractive and fun, again, to encourage me to do this while we are traveling. This one's going to have a pocket, so I used a circle punch to punch out a little hole on the side and made sure I didn't put glue on that side, and then I'll fit one of these index cards in to the pocket. So I'll just take that to the paper trimmer and quickly cut that off, and I cut a little bit off of the bottom too because I had it almost a little bit big there. It was a little bit too snug to pull in and out. And I've got another one that I'm going to do like that as well. Now I'm looking at what things I want to put on top of each of the pages. I have those little postcards were one of the pieces of designer paper that I trimmed apart. And one of the other pieces here that I'm cutting up has all kinds of little sayings on it about camping and family, and trust me, we are not going camping. I'm not a camper. To me, Motel 6 is camping. But I am picking out things about family and fishing. I don't fish either, but my husband does. And lazy days, I can do that for sure. So all those kinds of things. And then there's some other small ones there that I'll trim down that have some little symbols on them for the fish and going to the lake and that kind of thing. And that paper with the bottle caps, that's some good travel logo items as well, and I can punch some of those out. So I'm just looking at how I want to arrange some of these. I'm not gluing anything down yet, just figuring out maybe which of these little postcard items can lay on which papers. I tried to pick papers that were easy to write on, especially this grid paper here. That might be a good place to keep up with some of the travel expenses as we go along. And I'm going to add some additional index cards to this. So I'll have more journaling room. And I can punch these bottle caps out with a hole punch, or circle punch rather. Just picking out a few of them. On the road, are we there yet? That kind of thing. Because this is a road trip one. And it could work for a trip where you're flying as well. But a big part of this is we have a lot of driving to do for this trip. All right, working on the front cover, and I want to be able to flip this over and write easily, so I'm trying to keep everything pretty flat. So I'm using some stickers instead of thickers. These are some old ones from Crepe Paper. And it's going to say road trip. At least these are Crepe Paper. The next ones I'm going to use, I'm not sure where they're from. I think they're American Crafts, but and then we'll have road and then trip and then a few other symbols there along the way. So my plan is to show you the finished album when we get back from our trip. So I realize I'm doing this pretty late in the summer, but that just happened to be when we were traveling that worked out for everything. And of course you want everything on this to stick down really well, so if it doesn't stick good, add some additional adhesive to it, because you don't want pieces coming off as you're working. And this is the kind of thing I can put in a pocket when I get back inside my album, or keep it as a separate item of memorabilia, or I can take pieces off of it and put it in my scrapbook, however I want to. And then I'll put the destination up there on that postcard, and somewhere I'll put the date, that kind of thing on there. I thought I would do a little strip of designer paper along the bottom. Sometimes I add a lot of extra little strips of paper to the pages to decorate them up. This one I did pretty quickly, and I didn't do a lot of that. But they still have a fair amount of decoration in them with all these extra little things cut out. So I've got some more I'm going to glue on here. This entire project, I picked out the 6x6 pads in the evening, and the next day I came up at 3 o'clock, I started working on this, and at 3:45 I had it done and put together. So it does not take long to do this project. And I'm really glad I've done it, because now I have something I can use for journaling my trip. And you can kind of tell from why I'm speaking here, I'm doing this voiceover before the trip. So this is all in preparation. And I end up adding a few more of those index cards and things to journal with than I even thought that I would use. Now to put the holes in the top, I'm just using my grid mat to mark 2 more holes in a uniform place, and the crocodile will punch through several layers, so I'm punching through a couple of the glued together pieces, so it's actually like 4 pieces of paper it's doing at a time. And then I'll put my rings on. I do not have the world's best rings. One of them didn't stay together. I ended up having to change it out. But that's okay. All I care about is that they will hold together enough to keep all this ready for me when I'm traveling. Because when I get back, as I say, I may break this up, put it in my album, or pull pieces off of it. I'm not sure what I'll do with it, and I can always change the rings. So here's the finished album. Yeah, there's that one ring that came apart. So now we're back from our 9-day road trip to visit family, and you can see I've filled in lots of the pages. I'm going through this fast so you can't see what I wrote about them. Actually, all the bad stuff is in the pockets. No, really, there's none of that. Just things that we did, and some of the stuff that's in the pockets is also memorabilia, like my husband's fishing license and a ticket from a show that we went to, and mini golf, and you know, that kind of stuff. So just little things that I keep, and some notes about expenses and all that. And on the front cover, I put the states we visited as their title for the trip, and the back cover I have the date. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll check out my blog and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. Thanks.